The news broke last night from the Pentagon that they are tracking a Chinese spy balloon right now over Montana, which is home to one of the nation's 3 nuclear missile silos at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Right now, the U.S. position from the Biden administration is to allow the balloon to continue to float above the United States rather than shoot it down.
If the United States were to fly a balloon over, Beijing at 50,000 feet, you think the Chinese will let it stay there? But the Chinese have said to us, don't do anything rash. Calm down. Of course, calm down. You don't have to tell this administration to calm down. They're so calm, it's frightening.
Satellites are somewhere between 70 and 100 miles up. The spaceship station is 240 miles up. Our airspace is 50 miles. This balloon is at 5 miles above the United States. Flying
at the same level as commercial airlines.
They're using very specific language. Like, of course, we know it doesn't have missiles on it. It's not that kind of drone or balloon, but it can still pose a great national security threat without being a violent military threat.
It doesn't appear to be a weapon, but it does appear to be a spy satellite.
Well, not only that, it is a violation of U.S. sovereign airspace. I mean, it just simply is.
We had the capability of knocking this down. We could have taken it out over the water.
We've already let it fly from Alaska all the way to Montana without taking any steps to bring it down. We should have shot it down when it was over the North Pacific and the Aleutian Islands where there aren't very many people. We did not. We had to know it was there. I'm mystified by the response.
This is not a hot air balloon, as Marco Rubio said. This balloon, which, by the way, can be controlled, so it's like a drone balloon, is carrying 2 surveillance devices. Each one is the size of a city bus. Tom Cotton said, hey, if you don't want to shoot it down, how about we bring the balloon down and exploit the technology, which is what the Chinese love to do with our aircraft and anything that goes down in like the Pacific. And let's see what they have in those 2 city bus-sized surveillance.
That's what people need to understand. The surveillance gear alone, we're not talking about the balloon. The surveillance gear alone is the size of 2 city buses. So, and they're hovering over our Air Force base that controls intercontinental ballistic missiles. I want you to think about this. And what is the Biden administration doing? Canceling Blinken's trip to China. That's what they're doing.
This is a political statement. We've allowed now a Chinese aircraft to violate our own sovereign space. We have the ability to make sure that doesn't happen, and we should do that. It should be brought down. We should find out what gear it has. We should tell the Chinese this is unacceptable. The fact that the administration is passively responding to another Chinese provocation has deep political implications for us going forward.
How close was the U.S. to was the president to ordering a shoot down of the balloon?
Yeah, so again, I'm not going to get into internal discussions within the White House. Again, right now, we assess that there is no threat, a physical threat or military threat to people on the ground. So we're continuing to monitor, and we'll just leave it at that.
This is up to Joe Biden, ultimately. This is what falls under presidential authority is how to take, how to command the military to take action here. He has to make that final call.
They're testing us. They're seeing what the response will be. Next time it'll be something bigger. Sometimes it'll be something with even more equipment on it. They are pushing. They have found that Vladimir Putin was able to push Joe Biden around. They saw what happened in Afghanistan. Right? This is another instance where the model of not giving it in, the deterrence model that we had for 4 years is so vital. And maybe this particular balloon doesn't have anything super special. Fair enough. Send a message to the Chinese Communist Party. You are not going to violate our airspace. You're not going to buy our land. We're not going to permit you to continue to engage in economic warfare on the United States. This is essential for the protection of the American people.
Rick Grenell and Mike Pompeo said it very clearly that we have the capabilities to take this down without destroying it so that we can then know what the technology was. That's what the Chinese would fear the most, not just us blowing it up.
No, they would fear us getting it.
Getting their
and find
tech,
out what they were doing.
Hack into their tech, and then if you can hack into that tech.
The idea of taking it down, I think at first instance would be the right thing. Gathering the data, and you heard it from 2 people that would know if we could do it. Mike Pompeo, former director of the CIA and Secretary of State, and the former director of national intelligence on this broadcast said we had the capability of doing it. And I think we exercise that capability, would send a message to the Chinese government, too, that we are sophisticated in our response, and we're going to find out what you're doing, and then we're going to hold you accountable.